So where are you headed politically? There are people that have said probably you might end up going the UDA way, probably being considered for a running mate of the deputy president. Is that so, or are they options that you're looking at?
Again, as I said, I'm introspecting, I'm listening. I am spending a lot of time here on the ground, listening to what people want. As I said, politics is very local, and it's very unique to individuals. You need to be very careful to make the right decisions if you intend to survive politically, especially when there is an election year coming up. And one of the things that I'm asking about, and especially with regard to my gubernatorial candidature, is asking the people which vehicle, because it's very, very possible that you can run and you can be popular, but lose on a wave. For example, in 2017, anyone in Mount Kenya who tried to run against the Jubilee party was very difficult. I think we only have amongst the governors one governor who ran independently, but still affiliated to Jubilee and was previously in Jubilee before they went independent. So that's one of the things that I am really consulting on, which is the vehicle that can secure my seat. On the matter of running mate, I don't think that is an issue that you decide for yourself. I think the presidential candidates, national presidential candidates, will decide for themselves who their running mates are, the people who they think will best help their candidature to win that seat. As I said, 2 of them already have committed that they will be choosing a Mount Kenya person as a running mate, and mostly because they are targeting to secure the votes of Mount Kenya. And I think more than that, I think even the others, if there is another 3 or 4 presidential candidates who are serious from wherever they are, they will probably be coming to Mount Kenya for a running mate, and they will decide for themselves who that running mate is. However, as I have said, the future and the current is female, looking at the trends around the country, and it will be expected that whoever is likely to get that momentum is likely to consider a woman, whoever that woman is. Yeah.
Do I hear you say that it will be very difficult for you to defend your seat on a Jubilee party ticket?
I didn't hear what you...
I'm asking, do I hear you say that it will be very difficult for you to defend your seat on a Jubilee party ticket?
The truth of the matter is, at this point in time, if elections were held today, that would be very difficult. That's a fact. Unless something seriously changes, and I have said that many times, that Jubilee needs to seriously look internally and see how to revamp the party for it to be acceptable to, again, where I come from, the people of Mount Kenya. When you talk to people here, they don't feel that they're very satisfied with how Jubilee has been run for the last 5 years. For whatever reason, we don't have presence in the ground, and there is not that emotional connection that you need with a political party. And if today, elections were held today, and I ran on a Jubilee party and somebody else ran on another party, I would have a hard time in convincing people that they need to elect me, even if they think that I have performed. So Jubilee has a lot of work to do in terms of revamping. We need to ensure that, and we need to do it fairly fast, that you're revamping the party and that you are resonating with the people. And the way I would see it is like, give it back to the people. Let the people feel like they own it. But the people who run the party have to make the decisions whether that is important to them or not. And then the candidates will decide whether it's sufficient, whatever it is they've done is sufficient enough for them to run on that ticket, or should they seek an alternative route to secure their seats.
Is UD an option for you?
As I said, I'm considering various options. I mean, there's quite a number of parties out here. There is Jubilee. If we really honestly went and revamped the party, I think we still stand a very good chance, because it's a party that has the infrastructure and has a lot of things going for it, especially in terms of networks and reach and resources. But if we do not manage to deal with that issue, we would have to consider the other parties that people can accept you with on the ground. So still considering and still introspecting.
Quite interesting. I want us to listen to something your Secretary General Raphael Tuju said about, well, we'll get that shortly, but it is about the conversation around the Uhuru ticket, because you are in the first cabinet of President Kenyatta up until November 21st, 2015. And when you listen to the Secretary General say the things he said, we'll listen to the clip later on, but when you listen to those things, do they reflect the relationship of a president and a deputy president you served? And specifically, do they reflect the character of the deputy president?
I'm sorry, you're breaking a little bit. You said that he said?
No, I'm asking, okay, let's listen to the clip first, and then we can engage on this.
The Deputy President took office in 2013. He demanded proposing half the cabinet. That is when the rain started beating us. His proposals were too biased ethnically, and it left President Uhuru Kenyatta with no option but to work with the remaining half to accommodate the rest of Kenyans. From when the Deputy President took office in 2013, he demanded proposing half the cabinet. That is when the rain started beating us. His proposals were too biased ethnically, and it left President Uhuru Kenyatta with no option but to work with the remaining half to accommodate the rest of Kenyans.
Right, Governor, apologies if you're not able to hear that voice correctly, but it was that long statement of the Secretary General Raphael Tuju about the Deputy President, and in that clip that we just listened to, he's talking about how the Deputy President proposed names for cabinet, majority of whom were from his ethnic community, and went ahead to say that he was blackmailing the President with the numbers that he had brought on board. Did you get a feeling of this at the time that you served as Cabinet Secretary in that government?
I wouldn't say I am familiar with that. I was in cabinet, in the first cabinet, and I'm not privy to how the cabinet members were selected, and so I cannot say who appointed who. I know when I was proposed, I know that my name came from His Excellency President Kenyatta, but I cannot tell whose name came from where amongst the other members that we had. So I don't think I can comment really confidently on that matter.
Okay, all right. But if you're to reflect on those statements at a time that we have known the second term of President Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto to be what it is, the fallout that has been, what do you make of this? And as we transition to the next election cycle and actually regime, what lessons must we learn from this process?
Let me say it's very unfortunate where we find ourselves. As a leader and as somebody who was there in the Jubilee government from the beginning, it's really unfortunate that this is where we are. And again, a place where we all need to sit back, all of us, all sides of the divide, and ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? So that this country doesn't find itself in a place that is like this again. And I know that politics is not very straightforward, and there are very many nuts and bolts that go into running governments and very many complexities. But I think to be in a situation where you have the president and the deputy are not completely working together is something that we need to think about. And I think considering the way our constitution is wired, we need to also reflect on what is it that we did, and I say we because we are in government, what is it that we did to either fuel it or to put us in a situation where there's a completely almost collapse of our relationship, because it affects all of us as a country. It affects the leaders, it affects the people, the population at large, because people tend to take sides, and it's not a good thing at all. And the lesson that we need to learn is that going forward, whoever chooses running it will need to do that in consideration of various factors. And then whatever commitments that you give each other, because apparently maybe the conversations, and I said I'm not privy to the reason why they are not completely together, but whatever it is that caused that division and that breakup, that doesn't happen. If it was an issue of the pre-election agreements to do with like what we are saying in Mount Kenya, that we will expect that the projects that are being done will be continued. We expect economic empowerment. We expect, how do you ensure that those commitments you have done when you're getting into this arrangement are actually kept, those promises are kept, so that we do not find ourselves in this situation, if that is really the issue. Or if it is an issue of let me say, hierarchy or priority, or what it is that you're doing, how do you manage that? And consider politics, because by the time somebody is a president and a running mate, those people, both of them are very strong individuals, both of them have serious influence, both of them have serious resources, and so managing that is very useful. I would recommend, by the way, one of the things that I would recommend is what President Kibaki had, which is the NESC, which is the National Economic and Social Council, a council of senior people in government who would be like advisors and have no interest in the government. So if it's on matters economic, if matters political, they caucus, they sit somewhere and they say, by the way, we need to continue moving in this direction, or we need to change this, otherwise we will have serious friction in the future. And I think that helps. I think maybe that is one thing in my own personal reflection when I think about this government. That's what I would advise. President Kibaki navigated a very difficult time, but I think the NESC helped to ensure that the country still continued. And you need those voices of reason, those elders, those senior people who have served in governments, people who are known to be arbiters, people who can bring people together and be respected, or people who can also advise and say, I think in this area, you need to go in the right direction and be listened to, because that I think is one of the things that, in my personal view, would have helped us. But the next government probably will have to consider that, or even this one at this point in time when we are in 1 year to elections. And
I want us to spend some time reflecting on the work of devolution, because it's been, is it 9 years since implementation of this structure of governance. As you reflect on the lessons you've learned, how would you rate your performance, especially if you're to look at the promises versus what you've delivered, and what has been the biggest challenge, especially for you in Kirinyaga?
I think in my 3-4 years, I've done pretty okay in terms of delivery. Let me start by saying markets, for example. I have built 11 markets. I'm in the process of building another 4, which are going to be completed in the next 1 month or so, and then another 4 before election time. So 20 markets in my span of 3.5, 4 years. I have also built an ultra-modern level 5 hospital. And Kirinyaga, we have very little resources. We have less than 1 billion shillings in terms of development. And that is why we sometimes have this push and pull with the county assembly, because to budget that money, it's very little for the county. So, and maybe you can show the hospital in Kirwea. You will see that we have spent a lot of our resources building that hospital to elevate our hospital from level 4 to level 5. And we didn't have a HDU, we didn't have an ICU in this hospital, which should open again in another 2 months or so. We will have ICU and HDU and about 300 bed capacity. We have also done a lot of improvement of our infrastructure, especially around parking areas. As you can see, it looks very modern in terms of what we found and what we have now. Proper walkways, a beautiful town. We can now say we have a capital city. And we've done well in agriculture and in what we are talking about, empowering people. We have a program called Wezesha Kirinyaga, where we empower farmers. And those farmers, the ones who are in this program, we have increased their income by about 1,000 shillings a day. Those in the poultry projects, those in the avocado project, pig farming, beekeeping, tomato farming, dairy. We are in the process of improving our breeds. About 100,000 cattle this 6 months are going to go through a program of artificial insemination to move our production of milk from 5 liters to 15, and in the second cycle probably get that to 30 liters. We've also worked with our cooperatives. We have about 4 or 5 that we're working with, bought the milk coolers, generators, ensured that they have yogurt making machines. We bought the milk howlers so that when this milk production goes up, that milk doesn't go to waste, that it actually gets processed, packaged, and sold. But we are also working to ensure that even if in the healthcare sector we have revamped our level 5 hospital, that we are also upgrading the smaller health centers. Yesterday I was inspecting the progress of 2 in the Karumande area, but we are doing, we're building 19, finishing 19 health centers so that those who are having basic ailments can be attended to in their respective wards. Okay. And then revamping our level 3 to level 4, that's Kenyaga and Kimbimbi, and we've already revamped the Baricho Hospital to level 4 for more serious ailments, and then now the level 5 for those who are severely ill mostly. All right. Governor, we are working to ensure that our people are empowered. So talking about infrastructure, urban improvement, our water provision, every area has been touched within the scope of the resources that we have had. What is my assessment of it? I think we've done pretty well. We could have done better if we had more resources. All right. And also, we spent a lot of time haggling last year during the impeachment time, and we lost a lot of time. All right. But we've recovered. All right. And I think we're now moving fairly well in the right direction. All right, Governor.
Let's first of all, because I hear you clearly talk about the many achievements that you've been able to reach, but at the end of the day, yes, you may have come up with economic measures to promote the economics of the Mwananchi, but there's still this general complaint, whether it's in Kenya or it's in Mount Kenya, that people saying that it has gotten worse, that their businesses are not doing as well, that their farming is not doing as well. So one is lost. If you're doing all this, but the impact is not exactly being felt, what's not working?
Well, I'm not at this point in time serving the whole of Mount Kenya. I'm serving Kirinyaga people, and Kirinyaga people, the ones we've been able to reach, especially on the programs, they are feeling the impact. What is not working is that programs like this, like the ones I was talking about, especially the Wezesha Kirinyaga programs, are the ones that you would be able to impact the Mwananchi at the grassroots level so that they increase the income that they have in the pocket. They're saying that we have done a lot with regard to infrastructure nationally, but they are not feeling us because they don't have money in the pocket. And why don't they have money in the pocket? We've had severe impact of COVID, for example, but also we have had some national policies that have not been very useful, let me say, to them. The people who have been surviving on very small businesses, we made some changes that at the national level that affected small businesses that had to do with importation of small things that were sold to the lower market, let me say the SMEs. And that policy needs to be reviewed. We need that reviewed very fast, because that will then help businessmen to be able to recoup lost time and be able to get some resources in their pockets. For the farmers, I think President Kenyatta has done pretty well in terms of revamping the coffee and tea. The prices of coffee have really improved. Even in Kirinyaga, I think we're the #1 now beneficiary. We have our cooperatives who have received over 110 shillings per kilo of coffee. When we started out, at least even when I started out, that price was way below 50 shillings. So the farmer is feeling the impact of these agricultural interventions. And I must commend His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta on this issue of coffee. On matters to do with rice, like for example in Kirinyaga, we've been given a minimum price for our rice. We're still waiting for a lot of the rice to be taken up by the government. I think they have committed to take quite a bit of it, set resources aside of about 700 million, and we hope that works. That will help the farmers, because as much as we're increasing our output, we also need to have a market for it. So it's just those little things. And then let me tell you something else about people out here. People feel that they need to connect, they need to see you, they need to see their leaders. So I think most of us in Mount Kenya need to spend a lot of time with our people, listening to them, interacting with them, so that they also feel that you're hearing them. And even if we're going through certain challenges, that those challenges are being addressed. There's the issue of CRB, for example.
Just hold on, Governor, because you were once the Cabinet Secretary in charge of devolution for about almost 3 years, between 2013 and November 2015 rather. And you've also had the advantage of being a governor of a county since 2017, August until now. So you would actually know what should work and what should not. But as we go into transition next year, you may be re-elected or you may not, bearing in mind that there will be an election for people to make their choice. How then do we secure the programs of your government or the governments that are already in office now beyond a situation where the governor does not get re-elected?
For us in Kirinyaga, we developed a 15 years sessional paper. I think we're the first county to have that. And from that, we have a development plan. And that plan is endorsed by the county assembly. And I would expect that in the event, unfortunate event, I hope that I will be re-elected, but in the event that I'm not there, that will guide whoever is the next governor to ensure that they secure the gains of the people of Kirinyaga that are in that blueprint, because it was done with public participation. And even if they were to tweak a strategy here and there, I don't see them doing exceedingly beyond what that framework is. And I think every county has a similar document or similar agreement with their assembly to ensure that there is that continuity in terms of service provision. There are certain things that you can never change. For example, the hospital will still be a hospital. The markets will still be markets. But when it comes to the policies that empower Mwananchi, people will still want to know that you're working to increase the resources that they have in their pockets. And so basically the framework is there. And we hope that in future, if I'm there, I will continue, and hopefully that I will still be there because I have the confidence of Kirinyaga people. Right. And if not there, then the next government can continue.
Governor, is there any blueprint you inherited from Governor Joseph Ndati?
No, there wasn't a blueprint or a sessional paper. That's why we took time to develop one.
So there wasn't any framework, or you wanted to start afresh? That's the question I'm asking about transitions.
There wasn't a framework. We were the first, as I said, I think we were the first county to do a sessional paper. there wasn't any document that said this is the plan. He had his own strategic plan, which is very different. A strategic plan is an annual plan that says these are the activities that we're doing. But you need a document that provides a framework in terms of policy direction, like what we have in the national government, the Vision 2030. That is a framework document. And that document then informs subsequent governments that come, irrespective of who that person is. They build their economic model around that Vision 2030. We did not have that. We have developed that now in Kirinyaga, and we hope that subsequent governments will build their programs around the session of paper.
Right, and Governor, as we get to the tail end of this interview, I think it was 21st of November 2015, I remember attending your press conference at the Devolution Ministry headquarters, and you said it was at the heat of the conversation around NYS1 scandal, and you said that you wanted to be allocated lighter duties if the president found it worthwhile. You've also been faced by several accusations, for instance, that failed impeachment at the Kirinyaga County Assembly and later at the Senate. And now there's what you say that EACC is pursuing for. If you had to reflect on what has transpired over those few years, do you think what you're doing now is a version of lighter duties? And do you have any regrets because of what really follows public offices?
Okay, first of all, in terms of summons to EACC, I'm not the only one who gets summoned. I think they summon everybody. I think my issue is not on summoning, right? My issue is in the manner of they summon people. When you summon around publicity and trying to do PR stunts, that's what I have an issue with. I think your question is really out of context, if you ask me, especially on the matters of lighter duties. This is not a job I was given by President Uhuru Kenyatta. And the issues of NYS, I think everybody knows what transpired. I think it has come to light what happened. I'm actually scheduled to be in court as a witness on that matter, and the political machinations that were around it, I mean, were very clear. So I do not want to go back there. On the matter of regrets, I do not have any regrets at all. I stood at the time on principle. I will stand again on principle if the opportunity comes. And going forward, I do not think that as a leader, you expect to have a rosy, journey through politics. And I think those of us who present themselves with certain political ambitions and serious political ambitions, you're likely to face some challenges. And that if you don't face challenges, then nobody thinks that you're going anywhere. And those challenges actually build you. Those challenges show people who you are. Those challenges are the ones that most often than not create the path for you. I think the challenges that I have gone through are the ones that have put me in the place where I am, where you're actually even calling me for an interview. So I welcome challenges when they come. And I think as a leader, everybody's watching to see how you will address them, because they measure the marks of a leader by how they handle the challenges that come their way. So no regrets at all. As you started this interview, remember you said 100 most influential women in Africa. I am at that place despite those challenges, and that says something. I said it before, it wasn't for nothing that I went through what I went through. Those who tried to tarnish my name and do whatever it is, it didn't work for them. It only worked for me. And I'm a Christian. I believe that things will work out for my good when you're in the good side of history, and the truth always prevails. So in leadership, challenges will come, and we embrace them, and we use them to make us better.
All right, Governor, I think you misunderstood part of my question. I was not saying that the governorship of Kirinyaga is some work given by the president. I was simply asking comparatively between a CS and being a governor of a county based on the responsibilities, what is lighter, what is heavier. That was the context of the question. I want us to take a look at the feedback that Kenyans have been sending to us. Okello Mwalimu is saying that going towards 2022, Mount Kenya can only be likened to Portia in Merchant of Venice. There are so many suitors whoever chooses the lead casket that is containing Mount Kenya's interests will walk away with all the votes. He must, however, give and risk everything he has. Abdirahman Ali, Governor Waiguru is one among women in leadership who stood strong for what they believe in. Politically, I can give her 75%. She stood firm in all her political activities. What is her next plan for 2022? All eyes on Waiguru's move. Party hoping should not sway her on 2022 plan. Jenga Wakungu, why a change of stand? Suddenly, dear Governor Anne Waiguru, were you supporting BBI out of pressure or principle basis? Patrick Kaburu, Madam Anne Waiguru, we don't have a situation. We're okay with not having a candidate. Other tribes can take the lead too. We've seen and painfully experienced how bad it is to have, quote, our person. Then Jacob Abere, you say, just watching and listening to Governor Waiguru carefully. She's politically smart, but she's gambling on her steps. Whatever she's alleging is part of her baggage that might make her lose political seats, either as governor or deputy president slot, if given. Queen Maureen, seems like Anne Waiguru is seriously considering all the options available on the table. And Jeremanu 3, I support Waiguru because the tide is too strong to manage. Let her be. The ground has changed and her people are sailing in a different direction. And Governor, that's what Kenyans are saying. Thank you so much for your time to speak to us on the different matters, including the politics of the mountain, devolution, and several other concerns about the country. That's our time for now. Up next is Workout Wednesday. Thank you for making time for us. My name is Sam Gituku. See you some other time. Bye for now.